That didn't even occur to me. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, whatever.
You're in my bubble now.
Guess we gotta finish the bottle together.
Not a problem. Welcome back to episode 2. We had so much fun last time, we figured we'd do it again. So, I'm Mark Adam, and I'm back with Alex Allardyce, our resident sommelier, aka wine expert. We should probably talk about more what a sommelier does.
Oh yeah,
but,
we didn't really talk about that last time.
We should, but I'm going to remove the mask because tasting wine with a mask on is tricky.
Difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alex, sommelier, explain.
Yeah, well, I guess you know a little bit about it. So essentially what Adam said, a somm, as we say, is a wine expert. So I went through about, I think it was like 3.5 years total. I kind of forget, it was all a blur.
It's a lot of wine intake.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. It was a lot of wine education we had to do. But so I'm a certified sommelier with CAPS. So that's the Canadian Association of Professional Sommeliers. There's a couple different schools, well, probably more than a couple, in the world that will certify you to be a somm. There's also the Court of Masters in the States. There's the WSET program in, I think it originated in the UK. And so that's where I have a couple intro courses. I have my WSET, by the way, is Wine and Spirits Education Trust. So I have my level 2 and my level 3. And so those were like the intro, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Prerequisite to taking my sommelier diploma. Oh, I should have had my pin on today, actually. That would have been funny. But
Wear it on the next episode.
yeah, next episode.
Why not?
Yeah, so basically what that means is I can drink wine good.
Well
That's
said.
what it means
well
to be
said.
a
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, so last week we spoke about a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and that was really nice and light and refreshing, and I learned a bunch. This week, what are we drinking?
This week we're doing red wine. So yeah, so last week we did the Sauvignon Blanc, and that's a very specific style of white. I think in the later episodes we're gonna try like different styles, but yeah, we thought we'd go from white to red right away, just to do something different. So the wine we're tasting, it's a French red from the Côtes du Rhone, so more kind of southern part of France. So it's Vignerons d'Estargou. I don't have a French accent, so you could probably say that better than I could.
Yeah, possibly.
Yes.
Yeah, I read a book on the Côtes du Rhone in French.
Oh,
because
really? Oh, God.
Domer, a mutual acquaintance, another sommelier, the one of the trainers you had,
Yeah, exactly.
actually, he gave me a book. He said, it's all in French, I can't read it. So he gave me this book about the Côtes du Rhone that he got at Provine, which is this big wine conference in Germany. But it was kind of an interesting read.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the one interesting thing about wine, actually. It's a lot easier if you can speak different languages, because trying to memorize like names, regions. Germany was the worst country to study. Oh my God, I'll tell you that. Anyways, so this is a French red. It's called a Cuvée de Galets. It's actually named after Galets is a name for the pebbles. It's like these smooth kind of flat pebbles in the vineyard. So that's what it's named after.
Oh.
But the interesting thing about these guys is that they're natural winemakers, and it's a cooperative. So when I say cooperative, essentially they're the winemakers, and they have like contracts with a bunch of different farmers that farm the grapes, and they send all of the grapes to these guys, and they make the wine with it. And so they're actually one of the very few natural cooperatives. Because when I say natural wine, do you know what natural wine means? It's really trendy.
It's a little more hands-off. I know it's less filtered. But for the people at home that don't know, I need a reminder.
Right,
I need a crash course.
Well, yeah, that's essentially what it is. So there's no definition for natural wine. It's not like organics where you're certified as an organic winery.
Okay.
We're still kind of a bit behind on that when it comes to natural wine. But generally the principles are you are farming organically, so you're not using pesticides, chemicals in the vineyards. And then once you bring the grapes into the winery, yeah, it's kind of like you said, it's hands off. It's kind of letting the grapes and the wine do what it wants. You're not manipulating it, because a lot of these winemakers think every time you touch the wine, you're changing things, you're adding things, you're losing like the beauty of what the wine was intended to be. It's just now it's just a product. It's not.
But okay, so if you really wanted it to be left alone, wouldn't you just not pick the grapes and let them go? I mean, that's natural.
Yes. Yeah, that's
right?
devil's advocate.
So I mean, a little bit of hands-on is required.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't get wine.
Yeah. Well, and that's the argument like against natural wine, because like it is very trendy, but there's also a big school of thought that it's really dumb for that reason. It's like, but generally, like the people that are just making good wine make wine naturally. You know, it's like generally like any winemaker tries to like not manipulate the wine as much. But that's what these guys are doing, and they're interesting because it's hard to be a cooperative and make natural wine, because how can you trust that like all of the different farmers that are farming your grapes are doing it organically?
Yeah, that's a lot of trust you're putting into a lot of different
and it
people.
just doesn't often happen. So these guys are really cool, and yeah, they're making some really great wine. They make a lot of single vineyard sites where they'll talk to the farmer and be like, we're going to make a wine just from your vineyard. So that's kind of cool. This is a blend of several different sites. So as you'll see in the Côtes du Rhone, it's kind of a classic blend. It's mostly Grenache, a little bit of Syrah, a little bit of Carignan blended in.
And a lot of grapes have a lot of different names, right? Mm-hmm. So like a Chardonnay is also sometimes called like a Bourgogne, and
oh yeah, because that's named after the region. So we would call this wine, this is a Côtes du Rhone. This isn't a, well, it is, but we wouldn't say, oh, this is a Grenache, Syrah, Carignan blend. Like as a wine person, when I see Côtes du Rhone, I'm already thinking, oh, okay, it's a region.
Yeah.
But when you're referring to the wine as this is a bottle of Côtes du Rhone, I'm already thinking, okay, it's probably Grenache based. It's probably going to taste like this. I have an idea already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right.
So why don't we drink it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Enough chit chat. So if you watched the last episode, we were talking about Stelvin like screw caps. So obviously this one is not screw cap. This is a cork. So I thought I would kind of show just generally how to open a bottle of wine. Most people can kind of figure it out.
Aspiring servers or people who work in the industry who still don't know how to do that? Exactly.
So this is the first thing I'm going to talk about. So this is my pet peeve, even at my place of work, and I will not name names. So people do it wrong and it pisses me off. So you got to cut the foil. So a lot of people cut the foil just around like the tiny little first lip, which to be fair, I used to do up until like 4 years ago. So.
I find that harder to do.
Yeah, it is. I think so.
It's more awkward.
And then I'll just show you how to do it wrong. But so if you just cut, I don't know if you guys can see in the video, but if you just cut the top of the foil off, then when you go to pour the wine, it gets caught in the rest of the foil and it dribbles everywhere and it's a mess. So especially if you're a server in a restaurant, I hate that when I see someone else's cut by the glass wine.
Especially when you go to fill the wine for them at their table.
And then it makes me look dumb, and I'm like, thanks guys.
Yeah.
So the proper way to do it is cut underneath the big lip of the wine there, and it just stops any drips from happening.
Which I also find easier because the weight of the bottle does some of the cutting work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're cutting underneath and you're letting the bottle the weight of the bottle kind of come down on your knife.
Exactly.
A lot of the work gets done. Yeah. It's actually easier to do it right than it is to do it wrong in this case.
Exactly. So I always do one cut around the front, and then I do a cut around the back. And then if you just do one
safety
slit
cut
up the side, then it should just, this is a lot of pressure, it should just all come off in one piece. So there you have your clean cut. You're not going to get any dribbles. And then you get your corkscrew out. And you always try to center the corkscrew just in the center of the cork. You get it started, and if you've got in there deep enough, you should be able to just give it a few twists.
Tip that I've learned in the service industry after 20 odd years.
Yeah, you probably opened more bottles of wine than I have, actually.
I don't know as much about the wine, but the actual service side of it.
Yeah, you've done that.
Let me point out to anybody that's trying to open a bottle of wine, you don't want to put the corkscrew all the way in.
Yeah.
I've watched so many people do that. It destroys the cork. It puts pieces of cork into the wine in the bottle itself.
Right.
And then it makes it harder to pull out because you're going to end up breaking the
Exactly.
the
So
cork.
if you can see, I've left it just out a turn.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it should catch nicely. And you just do one lift, two lifts, and then if I've done it properly, you shouldn't see the cork or the corkscrew through the bottom of the cork.
That's
which is
perfect.
Because like Adam was saying, if you have the corkscrew sticking out through the bottom, then yeah, you've essentially pushed.
There's going to be debris in the wine from the cork.
Yeah, which you don't want. So that's how you open a bottle of wine.
I love this.
Yeah. So yeah, so last time we kind of went through like the basics of how to taste. So we'll do it a little bit quicker this time. We can get to drinking quicker because I left you waiting last time.
Ooh, okay. So if you didn't watch the episode 1, go back and watch it. She goes over the tasting notes, or like how to taste wine. It's explained pretty clearly. Can I run through it and you tell me what I'm doing wrong?
Sure. Yeah.
First thing we do is we pick it up and we look for the clarity, right?
Exactly.
And it's a little hazy, natural wine.
It is hazy. That's what we talked about last time. Yeah. So this one,
natural wine,
not
right?
clear, a bit hazy.
Not filtered, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or not filtered as much.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. So at red, but I would say like almost a maroon, like a.
Yeah, it's quite deep. I would say intensity, but.
Yeah, but it's not really dark.
Yeah.
Not overly dark, but it's so that's the first. Okay, so clarity, color,
and then the intensity.
Intensity.
Yeah.
So I would say at this point, I would say sort of a paler, deep.
So like
red
medium or something. Yeah.
With some haze to it.
Totally.
So and then the next thing would be to smell it.
Yep. So remember we're swirling.
Oh right, sorry.
Swirling to let oxygen in.
I was paying attention, I promise.
On the nose. Oh yeah, that's yummy.
Oh, I'm getting a lot already.
Yeah.
It's ooh.
She juicy.
Okay,
it's
like jammy.
So if we, yeah, exactly. So I was gonna say, let's start with fruit. Like, what are we getting?
Like cherry.
Like strawberry, but not like really fresh, bright strawberry. Like ripe. Like like my favorite strawberries are when they're almost like. I don't say overripe.
Can I eat this or not?
Yeah, I love that though because it's just like nice and deep, and that's what this smells
totally
like.
get it. Oh man,
tons of fruit. It actually smells like
so fruit. It's like a pie almost.
Yeah,
it's like almost like a.
And honestly, that's
Am I getting
garnacha.
rhubarb?
Yeah, probably. Like that's garnacha. Like I find like garnacha to me is always just so juicy. Like on the nose, it's like just purity of like red fruit. It's just like it smells delicious,
Yeah, but I am getting a little bit of like a rhubarb, kind of like a tartness.
Yeah.
On the nose.
Totally. A little bit of spice as well. Like there's some other stuff going on in here. Like this is a natural wine, so it's not going to be just like purely fruit. Like there's a bit of like funk here. Like there's some character to this wine for sure. It's not.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of like earthiness, maybe some, and especially in the Côtes du Rhone, you'll get a bit of like some like crushed herbs, maybe a bit of meatiness. I don't get a ton of that in this wine.
Yeah, but it's a lot. Like the first thing, because you said when we do the look of it, you want clarity, color, intensity of color.
Yeah.
Then with the nose, you want intensity of smell.
Right.
Then what are the fruits?
Right, because with the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, that wine is very aromatic, so we said it's coming out of the glass at you. This one is not quite on that level, but it's...
I don't have to get my nose all the way in there to get...
I would say like medium plus or something. Yeah. It's very pronounced,
yes.
I would say.
But it's nice. It's...
Yeah.
It's...
Do you want to drink it?
I do want to drink it so bad. But also...
Okay, so remember... Okay, so for red wine, this is when it's important to get the wine all over your palate when you're swirling it, because that is when you can kind of detect the tannins a bit. And
okay.
I can chat about that.
And you're going to explain what tannins are?
Sure.
Good, because I have been in the industry for 20 odd years and I don't know.
Yeah, so make sure you're getting it like up around your gums and everything, because that's where you can kind of start thinking about the tannin. So, okay, so when I talk about tannins, so tannins in wine, again, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know the exact words, but it's like compounds that are in the skin of the grape. So if you ever eat like an actual grape itself, you know how the skin sometimes it's drying, it gives you that kind of bitter dryness. That's tannins. Black tea is the same thing. You know how sometimes like afterwards it's this drying?
I love black tea, yeah.
That's tannin as well.
See, I love that, and I really enjoy that about tea, and even some beers have that drying, not tannin, but
I know, but like the bitterness from the hops or something.
And so like
it's the same concept. Yeah, and really it just adds balance to the wine. So that's why red wine has tannins, because it comes from the skin and sometimes the stems, and white wine doesn't.
So to point out what you're saying, in white wine, when they take the grapes, they skin the grapes.
Yeah.
So there's no skin in the actual
So that's why there's no
wine.
color to white wine and also no tannin.
Exactly.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's why we just skipped over tannin with the Sauvignon Blanc, because like,
yeah. So if you were
it's not
watching,
gonna be a thing.
if you were watching last week and you heard her say there's tannins in red wine and there isn't in white, we'll get to that when we talk about reds. We're currently talking about reds, and
There we go.
tannins are from the skin of the grape, which is fun to know.
Yeah. So that's why obviously this is a red. That's where the colors come from. It has tannin. And so this wine's interesting because there's not a ton of tannin. Like when you swish it all over your palate, like it's hard going, if you're going from like white to red, you would think, oh wow, this is high tannin. No, it's actually not. There's just tannin there, you know, like compared to other, like to whites, there are some tannin. Like there's a bit of grip, eh? Like do you feel a tiny bit? Not a ton though. Like I would say this is maybe like medium, maybe even like low tannin.
Okay, I could get that. It's not super dry.
Yeah, because I'm not like, same way like when we were talking last time about high acidity, after you swallow, it's like you're still swallowing. I find the same thing with tannin. Some like Bordeaux or like Italian, if you've ever had like a Brunello or like a Nebbiolo or something, oh my God. Sometimes like it's like after you sip it, it's like, I'm like trying to peel my like lips off my teeth for like minutes after, because like that's how much tannin there are. This is not like that. There's a bit of grip, but just enough to make it balance. It kind of balances out that like ripe fruit and
really jammy kind of.
Yeah. But so that's tannin. So we kind of skipped ahead. So if we want to go back, we can talk about.
It's not very
sweetness
sweet.
or dry. Exactly. It's very fruity.
Very fruity, which I learned last time is not the same as sweet. Because on the tip of my tongue, like you said last time.
There's no sugar there at all, really.
Yeah, there's like nothing.
Yeah. So this is definitely dry. What about the acidity? Like how much did your mouth water?
Not a ton, like a little bit, but like it's like I was expecting, because it was so like kind of, I was getting that grip on my gums and stuff. I was expecting it to be more like mouth watery.
Yeah.
And I am a little bit right now.
And that's the tricky part. I struggled with that for a long time in tasting wine because, it's like your mouth is watering from the acidity, but then the tannin dries your mouth out. So it's really hard to try to assess both of those things independently from each other. Like you just really have to think about the acidity and not think about the tannin. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. But yeah, this isn't a crazy high acid wine. I like probably medium or something.
Right. I mean, but it's yummy.
Yeah, I think it's super yummy. Yeah. And the flavors are all kind of the same, right? Like lots of that, like really bright red
same
fruit.
as the smell, you mean? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because so like I asked her last time if the smell and the taste always line up, and she had pointed out that they don't always.
Yeah.
Sometimes but they do mostly.
Yeah, for the most part.
So you get more. Sometimes you can detect more on your tongue.
Yeah, I find it's easier for me on my palate. I can pull out more.
I expected this to feel heavier.
Yeah, it's pretty light.
Considering how like hazy it is, I expected more of a like heavy mouthfeel.
Yeah.
And it's pretty light on my tongue and my like when I'm swallowing, like it's not heavy.
For sure. I love this wine. This is actually one of my favorite like red wines to drink. You can even throw like a bit of a chill on it. Like if it was like a hot summer day, like put it on ice for like a couple minutes. I don't know. It's easy to drink. Like
and also that's the other thing about like wine, beer, spirits, whatever. Don't let people tell you how to drink it.
Yeah.
Drink it how you want it. If you like a chill in your red, don't let people judge you.
No. Totally.
If you like your scotch with ice in it, don't let people judge you.
Same thing, eh? Yeah.
If you don't like it neat, don't drink it neat. Like don't fall prey to the pretense.
Yeah, like there's no right or wrong.
Exactly.
Way to do
Wine doesn't need to be pretentious as it's portrayed on TV and all that stuff, right? You can just have fun with wine.
Yeah.
It's alcohol at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's meant to be meant to have fun, meant to enjoy.
Enjoy the way you want to enjoy it, for sure.
Exactly. So if you want to drink a white hot, maybe not hot, but like room temperature.
But again,
go ahead.
If you want to.
I mean, I would go no, thank you if you were trying to offer it to me.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell you to not drink it.
So that's honestly one thing I really believe is, even when it comes to like wine and food pairing. So often at work, people are like, oh, I'm ordering the pickerel tonight. What do you recommend? And I'm like, oh, I would go with a white. And they're like, oh, I really only like cab. And I'm like, not the best pairing. But I'm like, you know what? And I say to them, and they're like, is that bad? I'm like, it's not bad. Honestly, like you're coming here. Like if you want to drink cab with your fish, you do that, man. I'm like, this is your life. If you're going to enjoy that, like sure, maybe I don't know what Pinot Noir would be a better pairing. But if he doesn't like Pinot, then he's not going to like the pairing. It doesn't matter. I'm like, you know what? Just drink what you want to drink. I honestly, even as a nerd, and I love wine and food pairing stuff, but I truly believe just, drink what you want. Like, you can't go wrong with that ever.
I don't like coffee. Why would I drink coffee in the morning? I drink tea.
Right.
I don't like coffee.
Yeah.
So why would I drink that if just because
people say
you should drink, like if this is what you're having for breakfast, you should have coffee with it. Like,
no.
Drink what you like.
Yeah,
just because it's not the traditional pairing for this particular donut.
No.
Drink what you want.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers.
COVID cheers. I started cheersing the bottom. Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea.
COVID cheers.
I thought that didn't even occur to me. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, whatever.
You're in my bubble now.
Yeah, well, here we are, I guess. Guess we got to finish the bottle together.
Not a problem. All right, well, I think that sums it up for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. If you didn't check out episode 1, that's already up on our YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning into the WPG Winedown.
See you next time. Cheers. COVID cheers.